Sorry for being fashionably late. We got to celebrate, though. Crack a cold one, everyone. Crack a cold one. Because it's official. Another season. We're the best to ever do it. Locked in. 9 wins. Mama, we made it. We made it. Celebrate. Non-losing season champions. We hit our quota for the year. 9 wins. In fact, we're the best to ever do it. I'm pretty sure, at least. I'm like 99.9% sure. Because there was a graphic on one of our games a few weeks ago that popped up that showed the most consecutive non-losing seasons for a franchise, like what the records are. And we were tied for first, right? Tied for first with 21. And we just hit 9 wins this season, so it's impossible for us to have a losing season in 2025. So that would get us to 22 consecutive non-losing seasons, which would make us the champions of non-losing seasons. Like official, like this is official. That's the genius of the hats, my friends. That's the genius of the hats. If the Steelers actually do go on a run, it means, well, especially with this 9 wins, if we still go on a run in the playoffs, make a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, still makes us non-losing season champions. You can't take that away from us. Can't take it away. But also the fact that we just got this 9 wins in 2025 and 22 consecutive non-losing, like this is a record. This is a record. This is history. History right here. This doesn't even have to do with this season. Come on, man. You got to think multiple angles with this business stuff, with this clothing stuff, man. Like you can't go wrong with these hats no matter what way you want to spin it. If we go on a run, cool. These hats still remain. They still tell the truth. They're evergreen. We go on a run, yeah, we're still non-losing season champions. In fact, the hats were the things that catapulted the Steelers into these winning ways, into this momentum, and hopefully a Super Bowl. And if we don't, then yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Still non-losing season champions, and they're stylish. You can wear them out. Wear them out on the town. Wear them to sporting events. Grab some coffee. Very stylish. Go with anything. Wow. Shout out. We're going to get to the game. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm operating a business here. I'm not only talking ball. I'm not only talking Steelers. But now with these hats, like I also got to run a business. So we're going to get to the game. I'm sorry. Maybe that was a little bit too long on the hats there. But I also got to market the apparel. I also got to market the merchandise here. You know what I mean? I'm a businessman now. I'm versatile in what I offer. I could talk Steelers. I could talk shop. I could talk ball. But also, I could design some dope clothes. I could design some nice accessories. That means something, too. That means something. Because we know what this means. We know what it stands for. Yeah, real shout out here to Real Sam McGarvey. Ordered the hat the moment we won the game. Thanks, bro. I don't know where the link is. I don't know how to do the link. I'm probably leaving opportunity out on the table here because I don't know how to pin the link to the chat for the hats. And I don't have the gold one anymore. I'm sorry. I actually don't have the gold one. That's why I'm wearing the white one. I actually used the gold hat as my gift for the Christmas party that I had going Friday night. It was a white elephant gift, $25. So I even went over budget by gifting that hat. I gifted the gold non-losing season champions hat. The person that won it was ecstatic. I gave him that and a Smirnoff Ice. You had to take the ice to get the hat. All right, Thad C. Am I high or did we lose the turnover battle and still win? Did we? I mean, I guess technically. Did the Lions? Yeah, I don't think the Lions turned the ball over. we should have had like 3 or 4 turnovers on Goff those last couple drives. It was weird. Like, our defense was faltering, but in a way, I thought we were getting unlucky too, because Goff was giving our guys some opportunities for some turnovers, for some interceptions. Y.A. Black, Chuck Clark. But ultimately, the Lions they came back in that game, and our defense. I don't know. I don't know how to judge the defense. I would actually give our defense a positive grade, honestly. I would. Because even though we were playing some of that soft coverage down the stretch that we don't like to see whenever we get leads and let the other team get back in and make it a one-score game, take it down to the wire just like we witnessed. Dude, how about this fucking game, though? I mean, the end of it, absolutely wild. Like, the game was actually, like, that good, interesting, entertaining, crazy that I forgot about DK Metcalf punching a fan in the first half. Like, that's how good that game was in the second half. That's how interesting it was. Like, yeah, DK's punching fans. Unfortunately, I think he's going to get suspended for a game on that. We don't know all the details of what happened. You know, the NFL is going to investigate it. But really happy that he didn't get taken out of this game. He was able to finish this one out. Because he did make some plays down the stretch. The first couple, though, after that incident, you could tell something was off with DK. He was still concerned about what took place there. That was still in his head because he was dropping passes. Just didn't look right out there. Didn't look. I guess we did lose the turnover battle. Technically, I think we only had one. It was the Darnell Washington fumble. So back to your comment. I think so. I don't think the Lions turned the ball over. Am I off? And weirdly, that Darnell Washington fumble worked in our favor because now we didn't get the opportunity for the touchdown on the next down because I think Darnell's fumble came on second down. We would have had a third down to try to score down in the red zone, down at the goal line. So we don't know what would have happened there, but at least we would have got a field goal. I guess, maybe. Now Boz is missing field goals. Boz is missing easy field goals in critical moments. I don't know where the hell that came from. But we would have at least had 3 points there. So Lions get the ball. Then we get the safety, the Duggar sack in the end zone. So we get 2 points. Then we get the ball. And then we put together a massive drive for like 10 minutes there. Just chew the clock down completely. I can't even remember. Did we kick a field goal there? I think we kicked no. I can't even remember if we kicked the field goal after that long-ass drive. I think we did. Yeah. But we killed so much time. And then Warren had the big runs in the fourth quarter. We went up big. And then we let the Lions get back into it. There's shaky calls by the refs, though, as well. So there was a lot going on in that fourth quarter that I don't want to completely just rail on the defense and say they suck. Because we got a little bit unlucky. I think you also got to give credit to the Lions for just operating at a high level on offense. And when you're down in a game like that and you have nothing to lose, you're going to be more aggressive. You're going to be taking shots. And they executed on some money downs. They executed on fourth down. We know that even if you stop the run, which for the most part the Steelers did. That was the main key coming into this game. I said, you got to stop the Lions running attack because a lot of their offense is predicated off that. A lot of Goff's success can come off of how good the Lions are running the ball because you could add unpredictability into it. He does the play action, and he just gets more comfortable when the Lions are running the ball. I mean, it's not rocket science. Whenever an offense in the NFL is running the ball at a high clip, you're just going to have success as an offense. But the Lions, especially because of the running backs they have and the high-powered nature of their offense and how they could score points at a really high clip. But that was the first thing you got to do. But it was no guarantee that you were going to be able to get stops every time the Lions had the ball because even if you do stop the run, they're still going to have their moments, which they did. And then Goff is a good quarterback. He's not Tua. Goff could actually keep the Lions in a game and be competitive down the stretch, air it out. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got Jameson Williams. He's got weapons where they can open it up and they can score in an instant. So, don't be too down on yourself if it happens. Because I think for the most part, the Steelers held the Lions in check and did what they had to do. Even though in the first half, even though for the majority of the game, Lions did still have their moments on offense. There were a lot of 3-and-outs. And when they did have drives, we held up in the red zone. We got them to do a turnover on downs. We held them to field goals. And that's all you can ask for. And then the time was more in the Steelers' favor in the fourth quarter as opposed to the Lions. and we needed every last second. We really did. So I'm not that down on the defense. I'm not. Even with how it ended, there was some shitty calls that went our way. There's some really ticky-tack calls that went against us. Lions have a good offense. They're like the number one scoring offense in the league. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. I wouldn't put him in the elite category. But when you're down in a game, 2 scores, he's capable of doing stuff like that. Getting the Lions back in it, airing it out, scoring in like 2 or 3 minutes. So, I mean, he's capable. Lions offense is capable of that type of stuff. We didn't take opportunity of some turnover-worthy plays that he was throwing our way. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Weird game for the defense, but still, I think overall, if you're just going to look at it from a month-by-month basis, it's still a large improvement over what we saw last month. These last 3 weeks, from a defensive standpoint, much improved from, I would say, like the last month. And to the point where we were at home against the Bills, record 6-6. We're chanting in the stadium to fire Tomlin. Like that, we're moving in the right direction still. Even though it wasn't perfect, even though we could still have some complaints, I think net positive for the defense, definitely net positive for the offense. I don't I'm annoyed by how conservative our offense is early on, and this is back-to-back weeks, really. Miami game last week, we didn't get going until that final drive before half. Same exact thing this week, and we kind of got lucky with the whole Kenneth Gainwell play, if we're being honest, to get those 10 points heading into half. But before that, it's just a bunch of Rodgers checkdowns, playing it safe. Our O-line wasn't really holding up, so maybe that's why we were conservative. You know, you're feeling it out. We can get away with it if the defense is playing that guy, and that's why I want to still give credit to the defense, because for 3.5 quarters, the defense was keeping us in that game. The defense was the more elite unit between Steelers offense and defense. I would say the defense was better than the offense. And then the offense had its, they had its moment in the second half there. They had everything going in their favor with the running attack and everything. But the defense allowed for that. The defense allowed for the offense to pick their spots, to be conservative, feel out the Lions defense, and then credit to the offense to the drives, to executing on the drives right before half, right after half, and then everything that happened in the second half. And then even to get it down to the point, and because you got to blame Boss for that missed field goal. Like, what the hell was that? I know they were saying it was like a low snap and stuff, but damn, bro, the offense actually did get us to a point where we would have been up 8, and it wouldn't have been possible for the Lions to beat us on that final drive anyway. They did almost everything to close it out when the Lions had all that momentum. 1-score game. We could have just went in the tank, did our run, pass thing, and punt it to the line. But we didn't. No, we had a nice drive going. We got it down to field goal range, a chip shot field goal for Boswell, and then he clanged it off the upright. So I think those are my kind of overall takeaways of what I saw from both the offense and defense there. In terms of specific players, Rodgers, he's lighting it up, man. He's wheeling and dealing. He is playing at a really, really high level. The checkdowns are annoying. Some of the short passes are annoying. But when he gets going, when he's got a good feel for that defense and we start opening it up more, the passes to Thielen over the middle, some of the shots down to MVS, Scotty Miller getting involved. I guess we could all see why Scotty Miller is on the active roster over Roman Wilson. He's higher up on the depth chart. Making plays like that. Rodgers has a little bit more comfortability with Scotty Miller over Roman Wilson. It's weird. It's not optimal because we drafted Roman Wilson in the 3rd round and we're expecting high things from him. We think he's a good talent. But if Rodgers feels like he can go to Scotty Miller in some crucial downs and Scotty's going to make some catches and actually show up, I'd rather have that out there than Roman Wilson. Sucks for his development, but we're in this win now mode in 2025. And with us being 9-6, shouldn't change. That definitely shouldn't change. Defensive players, Duggar with the sack, the safety. JPJ was making some nice plays early on. Some pass deflections. Sticky in coverage against Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think before that final drive, what did St. Brown only? He only had like 30 yards. Wasn't really doing jack shit. I mean, Goff before those final few drives didn't have lucrative stats, but then all of a sudden, yeah, it was just going up and down the field on us. Ends up with over 300 passing yards. What else? Cam Hayward, good game. I think the defense as a whole played good. Jack Sawyer stepped up. Highsmith was getting after it every time. He was in Goff's back pocket. It felt like almost every play. I can't remember if Highsmith actually got a sack, but his pressure was felt. Queen was, I was going to say, they were kind of picking on Queen in the middle for the majority of the game, but he had a tough assignment. They were doing some smoke and mirror stuff, play action. He had to focus on the running back, but then he also got to focus on the middle of the field, doing some of those zone concepts. That's everything off the top of my head in terms of like defensive standouts, offensive standouts. I mentioned Rodgers. Kenneth Gainwell apparently is like prime Marshall Faulk for us. Catching, running, do it all back. Jaylen Warren, I told you. Don't forget about Jaylen Warren. I told you. There's a reason I wanted to keep Jaylen Warren over Najee. There's a reason why I said he's the better running back. Give him the money, not Najee, and make Jaylen Warren our one. And even with Kenneth Gainwell doing good over the last few weeks and for the majority of the season, just don't forget about Jaylen Warren. He still deserves his snaps. He still deserves his touches. He's going to make plays. Trust me. Last week, he was sick. That was probably his worst game in a Steeler uniform. He was sick, though. He almost missed the game because of how sick he was. But shout out to Jaylen Warren for grinding it out and being up there, or being out there, toughing it out. Okay, back to this, the DK Metcalf stuff. T-Will 4993. No DK next week because he punched a fan. Is that official? I mean, yeah, it's that he's at least gonna miss a game. Hopefully, it's just one game. I don't know exactly what the hell happened there. I have no clue. I have no clue. But yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't great. Who knows what the fan said? Who knows what the exchange was? Maybe the fan deserved getting punched. Like some of this shit with the fan interactions and like players going after fans. Some of it like I approve of. I'm not even gonna lie. It's like, yeah, if you're chirping and saying that type of stuff, maybe we should allow DK to just throw a little sucker punch there. Not opposed to it. But from a DK standpoint, like, yeah, in those type of situations, it's lose-lose. Unfortunately, you got to keep your cool. You got to be the bigger man and just walk away, not do that because you're going to cost the team. And likely he's going to be out next week. Shouldn't need DK to beat the Browns. Shouldn't need him. It could be a weird game, though. Browns aren't, like, actually playing that bad. They kept it close against Buffalo. They have a pretty decent defense. Could be the perfect opportunity to sign Allen Lazard, though. Seriously. I still don't know what the holdup is with signing it. Like, why not just sign him and put him on the practice squad? No reason not to. Pete the Penguins goes, started drinking at noon. Thank God we won. Oh, damn. Big day for you. Wow. Big time day. Oh, that Keystone Light. Oh, that's awful. That's awful. Holy hell, that's awful. Wow, is this expired? Remember I showed you guys the Miller Lite that was chilling here? It's probably been chilling here for the last 2 or 3 months. And one of you guys said it's I think it's like 2 or 3 months until it expires. This Keystone Light's probably been in my fridge for over 2-3 months. But it's cold. That's why I got that. The Miller Lite's warm. Oh yeah, shout out Real Sam McGarvey. Ordered the hat the moment we won the game. Thanks, bro. You know what it is. You were keeping tabs. You know what's up. John Easton, DK out for the year, season over. No, that better not be. NFL soft if they're tossing him for the season. He better not be. Hell no. One game's fine, and one game, and then a fine. That's all that. Just do that, NFL, move on. I guess I'm still interested to hear the details. I would like to hear DK's side of the story. I'm sure he's going to be asked about it post-game. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. King Vibes 912. We back, but probably lose DK for a week. Yeah, yeah, I think that's the energy. Lone Wolf. DK will get a fine. Lamar pushed the fan this year. What? I don't remember Lamar's. I don't know what the optics were on Lamar. Was it? Yeah, I honestly can't really speak on it. how they compare. Because DK, that was like a punch. Maybe Lamar pushing a fan out of the way. That's a little bit softer. And I don't think Lamar was suspended for that. And I think that didn't the fan like attack Lamar? Like it definitely wasn't like Lamar's fault. I feel like it was almost like understandable what Lamar did. And who knows? Maybe in DK's situation, fan was saying some nonsense, and like maybe we got to loosen up the rules on. All right, dude, you're saying some nonsense to me. Yeah, maybe you deserve a little punch here. I don't know how to explain this. Man. Basically, I owe a chug, basically. I thought this could happen by drinking with my right hand because there's a game me and my brother play. It's mainly my brother and his friends play, and they try to get me to join in on it every time I'm around them. And usually I do. I opt in. I'm like, yeah, I'll play the game. But it's like, and probably a lot of you guys in the chat have played the game. Maybe you call it something different. But if you are caught drinking with your dominant hand and someone calls you on it, in this case, the code word is Jumanji, then you got to chug. You got to chug what's left in your beer. So I feel like I'm put on the spot. I'm on camera. I got 900 people here right now. I can't be letting people down. I feel like I owe. I mean, you let me know in the chat. I feel like I owe. Even though he called me on it virtually, like he's not in the same room as me right now saying Jumanji, I feel like I just got to do it. I gotta own it. I mean, I'm on camera. I mean, we're here. We're entertaining. We're entertaining the chat. We're entertaining the guests that are popping up here. Listen to my takes. I mean, I think you got to step up. You got to step up for stuff like this. It's a bad look if I don't. All right. I guess I got to do it. What do we think? All right. I got probably about 80% of this thing left. All right. What happened? What happened to the old dig? This thing would be gone already. Old dig, this thing would be gone. All right, let's get back to the chat. Sorry for the people that didn't pay for the comments. I gotta prioritize the paid comments first. We'll get to the non-paid comments in a little. You know how it is. You know how it is. Tay 8027 Steelers gang, we here? Yes, sir. Buy a hat. Buy a hat. We made history today. Most non-losing seasons in NFL history. It's either 22 or 23. We just set the record. We hit our quota. 9 wins. We are the champions. We are the champions at doing that. Hopefully we can do a little bit more. Hopefully we can. Like, we know why I made these hats. I made these hats because it was just like, this is the best we got, man. When we were at 6-6, or I might have made the hats before the 6-6. Was it after? Might have been after the Chargers game. I can't remember exactly when I made these hats, but it was just acceptance of us never going past the non-losing season, us not being able to go over that ceiling, go over that potential. Like, let's just admit what it is and make it into a hat, make it into a slogan. But hopefully we do better than that. Hopefully we do. These hats might be the spark this team needed. The hats and the Fire Tomlin chance. Got the team pissed off. Got the team wanting to prove everyone wrong. And I'm fine with that. But that's the funny thing about these hats. That's the great thing about these hats is you can't completely prove them wrong. You can't. Because we're still non-losing season champions. No matter what way you want to slice it. If we win a Super Bowl, still non-losing season champions. We just set a record. Just set a record. To be a Super Bowl champion, you got to be a non-losing season champion first, unless you go 8-9 and make the playoffs. But obviously, we didn't. It's impossible to do that now. We have our 9 wins. Impossible. Derek IP1. Crazy what picking up a few more receivers can do for our offense. Kenny G is the GOAT. I think he's officially our wide receiver too. Probably statistically. He probably has been. But even more so after today. What's the box score? I don't even have the box score pulled up. I'm just going off the cuff here. He probably had, let me take a guess. He probably had, he had the long touchdown. I want to say he probably had like 80 yards. 80 yards receiving. 78 and a touchdown. There you go. Jaylen Warren, 14 carries, $143, and 2 touchdowns. I told you, don't forget about 3-0. Don't forget about Jaylen Warren. Kenneth Gainwell, 9 carries, 50 yards. Yeah, another game of Kenneth Gainwell getting like $120 all-purpose yards. Like I said, I guess he's our Marshall Faulk, prime Marshall Faulk. What would Jaylen Warren be? Who would Jaylen Warren's best comparison be? Probably like a MGD, Maurice Jones-Drew. Like that's who I would compare him to. We don't use him as much out the backfield in the passing game as MJD was getting used back in his prime days with the Jaguars. But that's because we have Kenneth Gainwell. Don't forget, Warren can catch some passes too. Now, I think Kenneth Gainwell does have some better hands. I think he can catch passes at a better clip, more down the field than a Jaylen Warren. But don't forget when we had Najee, Jaylen Warren was our pass-catching running back. He was doing stuff in the pass game. He was the versatile guy. You couldn't really predict what we were doing whenever he was out there. Now it's like flip. It feels like when Warren's out there, we're probably going to run the ball 70-80% of the time. Matthew Adams, 8772. Do we still get rid of Terrell Austin? When? Like, not now. No, I mean, we're not. Obviously, we're not doing anything now, realistically. Nothing like that is going to happen. I think let's see how the season continues to play out. See how it continues to play out. Bad fourth quarter for the defense, but I'm still, like, not that mad about it. I don't think it was that awful. Because Lions are a good offense. They had nothing, playing with nothing to lose, down 2 scores, aggressive. Like, that's what happens sometimes. Like, we've seen it from really good offenses in the past or, like, really good elite. I'm not going to put Goff in the elite category, but Goff with weapons. I was going to say a line, but they were down a lot of pieces on their offensive line too. But Goff with good weapons, good running backs, all that type of shit, can actually be a good quarterback. Can do stuff like that. I wasn't surprised with what I saw from Goff tonight in that fourth quarter, bringing the Lions back. If it was someone else, like we've seen in the past with our defenses, like remember the one game? I'm really going down memory lane here. This might be too far in the past. Remember, we just in general, I'm going to give the example. Just in general, we've made lesser quarterbacks, lesser players, like guys that are afterthoughts, look like Hall of Famers in random-ass games where you're thinking, there's no way we lose this. There's no way the defense should be getting shredded like this at all. Like we've seen that be a theme for the Steelers over the last decade. But the game that I'm thinking of is when I think it was Bruce Gradkowski at home with the Raiders, like lit us up for like 300 yards and we lose the game. I think that's where you could say to yourself, there's just no reason for that to happen. Like, what the hell are we doing? It's understandable when the Lions are down 2 scores. You have a Jared Goff, you have a Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the running backs that they have, that they're going to be aggressive, and we're obviously going to try to keep a lid on the defense. And if they can execute well, if they can pick their spots, they might be able to move the ball well. We've seen it here in Pittsburgh with Ben, with all the fourth quarter comebacks, that type of shit. Brady's done it in the past. Manning's done it in the past. I'm not putting Goff in that category, but Goff with that Lions offense, those Lions surroundings, it is an elite offense in the NFL right now. So it's not like the biggest surprise for that circumstance for Goff to actually get the Lions back in the game and for them to move the ball. And we screwed ourselves in a way. It wasn't completely that Goff was lighting us up. He was giving us picks. He was giving us opportunity. We screwed ourselves there. So if you do want to knock the defense, you could say that. Take advantage of those opportunities that Goff has given us. But refs had some ticky-tack calls as well. I think those are the layers to what took place with that fourth quarter defense. I'm going to look at what the defense did in a more positive light, on a more positive note of what they did for like the majority of the game, like the 3.5 quarters where they were dominant, really dominant. holding the number one offense in the league in check. And the team, both offensively and defensively, was in complete control. Unfortunately, again, it has to come down to that. But this didn't feel like because Boz missed that field goal. Like how are you expecting that? The offense in that final drive, when Lions had all the momentum, for us to at least get it to 8 with the field goal. If we would have scored the touchdown, it would have been a 2-score game over. Like, the offense moved the ball down the field. They did their job. They did their job to that point. Boz, make the field goal, get it to 8. We can't lose in regulation. And Boz misses a field goal. You know what I mean? Like, who are you blaming on that? You can't blame Tom. You can't blame coaching staff. Can't blame the offense. Can't blame the defense for that. It's just like, that's an unexpected thing. You blame Boz. I mean, you blame Boz, but I think if anyone gets a pass for something like that, it is Boz. Just don't do it again. Don't do it again. That's your one pass right there. Don't do that again. Please. I do want to rewatch that, though, because they were saying low snap. Kind of weird. But it looked like he got it off clean. It just went straight for that post. Oh, man, I might have to crack that Miller. Man. The Keystone Light Chug, it's got me feeling good. I might have to crack that Miller. This warm Miller that's here. Snail Trail, thanks for the chat here. 99 cents. P. Bennett, 13. Oh, my, the blood pressure. Gainwell is team MVP. I'm still going Rodgers. You still got to go Rodgers. Gainwell's been really good. Maybe you could throw him in the conversation in the top, 3 or 4 now. Maybe I discredited him too much whenever we were having that conversation last week. Strung another really good game together. $120 all-purpose yards and the receiving touchdown. Insane catch. It's still Rodgers is 1. I don't know who you got 2. I think you could put a multitude of guys at number 2. Multitude. But Gainwell. I think you can have a serious conversation for Gainwell at 2. He's on pace to have probably 11 or 1,200 all-purpose yards for this season. He's basically our wide receiver number 2. RB1? I don't know. Who's our RB1? After today, Jaylen Warren, the stats are going to reflect that. But Kenneth Gainwell has been getting a much more heavy workload than Jaylen Warren. Heavy-handed Vaughn. Thanks, bro. Beat the Browns next week. Do we see Will Howard versus the Ravens? I love this conversation. I love this. Wait, what did the Ravens do? What did the Ravens do this week? Did they play yet? Or are they tonight? They're tonight. They're playing literally right now. I think you got to see what the Ravens do. I know what you're saying here. You're basically saying if we lock up the playoff spot, lock up the division before the Ravens game, should we see Will Howard? I think it's whatever Rodgers wants to do. If Rodgers thinks he wants some work the week before heading into the playoffs just to stay in tune, in sync with the offense, then you give that to Rodgers. And I don't know how many drives he would want. Is it a quarter? Is it a half? I think you treat it like preseason in a way. Whatever, Rod, you definitely reserve that for his decision. I think so. Tomlin has the ultimate say, but the respect, the relationship that Tomlin and Rodgers have. I think they'll have a conversation, and Tomlin will be like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you think is best for you to get ready for the playoffs? Because keeping him in the full game, it's kind of foolish. Risking injury. Obviously, he's still not completely over that left wrist fracture. He's been getting banged up throughout the season. He's 42 years old. He could definitely use the rest. He could use a game where, or a week where he could just heal up. But I also understand wanting to stay in sync, have that continuity as an offense, have that momentum keep going that you put on display over these last 3 weeks. Because the offense is, what is this, 3 games in a row of... How many points did we put up against the Ravens? It was like 20. It was in the high 20s last week. Dolphins, high 20s, right? Can't remember off the top of my head. I know the Dolphins had 15. We had like 20. What did we have? 27, 28. And then this one, 29. 3 games in a row. Offense looks like an NFL offense. Weird in the first quarter and a half with the conservative stuff. But again, if the defense is playing like this, we can afford to do that. I'm fine with that being the game plan. It's when the defense is playing like shit and we're doing conservative stuff on offense and all of a sudden we're down 17-3 going into half. We're down 14-0 in the first quarter. It's like, bro, yeah, we gotta switch up the approach. We gotta switch up the mentality here because our defense isn't as good as we thought. Our defense these last couple weeks, it's living up. Still not perfect. We just talked about the fourth quarter. We talked about how the Lions came back in it. Not all on the defense's fault, I would say. Not all on their fault. Bad breaks, bad refs. But like we're actually looking like a defense that's good enough to win a championship. What did I say? The two factors are for winning a chip: elite quarterback play, have a competent defense that can be timely, that can be clutch. I've seen that from the Steelers these last 3 weeks. Both of those things. Rodgers playing at an elite level and the defense playing competently. Top 10 to 15-ish, right? Top 10 to 15-ish. Getting some turnovers here or there. Making some stops in the red zone. Timely plays. Not perfect, but push comes to shove, they get it done. That's enough. I think that's enough. We just strung 3 good wins together right there, I think. Ravens on the road. That one was all over the place. We can admit that, but the offense had life. The defense held on. Won that one. That's when the sky was falling too. Think of the context of that game. Ravens on the road after the Bills loss. Fire Tomlin chants, booing Renegade. And we all agreed it was warranted. That's how bad the team was at that point. For the last month and a half, the team was on this terrible downward spiral. Lose our AFC North lead in embarrassing fashion. Getting blown out against the Bills at home. Fire Tomlin chants, booing Renegade. It was like, yeah, this sucks. What are we doing here? Another season of not being good enough. But Steelers responded. On the road, Ravens, backs up against the wall. That was a big game. Even though, again, it wasn't perfect. Offense took a big step in the right direction, inserting Thielen, MVS in the lineup. Defense held on at least. And then we had the really good game against Miami last week on not Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. And then this week, big win on Detroit's a good team, bro. Detroit's a really good team. Really good team. They're probably going to miss the playoffs, but number one offense. Defense is banged up. And the Steelers, that's the thing. The Steelers almost played this game exactly to a T like you had to coming in. This is what the game plan should have been. I would have liked the offense to get off to a faster start, but I wasn't expecting the defense to be playing that good against this Lions offense. I mean, big respect to the defense for the first half and the majority of the game for holding those running backs to limited production. How many points did they have? Was it 10 points? In the third quarter? 10 points? We saw a bunch of 3-and-outs. Held them to field goals whenever they were getting down to our zone. Turnover on downs the one series too. I wasn't completely expecting that. I was expecting our offense to maintain the balance and the momentum we had for the last couple of weeks, though, and they did that because the Lions' defense isn't that good. It's all right. It's mid. You could run on them, you could pass on them, but we proved that tonight with how Rodgers played and the running backs played. Okay, wait, did I even answer this? Yeah, I think I did, and then I just went on a spiel of something else. Beat the Browns next week. Do you see Will Howard versus the Ravens? All on Rodgers. It's up to Rodgers. Completely up to Rodgers. That's my final stance on it. Xavier TG, walk in your trap. Take over your trap. Yes, sir. Super J, hate how these games always end up nail biters. I'm with you, but it was entertaining. It was interesting. Tim Harris, 7303. St. Brown, thank you for the boneheaded decision. What a ride this year. Here we go. Are you just talking about the penalty? Because it was low-key a smart play for him to toss it back to Goff. I think you're talking about the push-off. Because the push-off ended the game. The penalty. That was clear. At least the refs got one call right there. Because that would have been egregious if they gave the Lions another opportunity. Yeah, penalty was clear as day. Or, whoa, yeah, that was actually, it was either Lions win the game or the Steelers win the game. Because I don't think you could have done anything else at that point. Because the penalty ended the game. Steelers win. But if you don't call the penalty, they called it a touchdown. And I think it would have been a touchdown. I only saw one replay because I was trying to get ready for this shit. It looked like his knee was almost down. I don't know if did he get the toss off before his knee, like shin went down? It looked like initially he did, but I could see if he was down before he even got the toss back to Goff. And they would have reviewed that, so if he was down before he pitched that back, then Steelers would have won. But they did call on the field touchdown, and we saw that wasn't that because that wasn't a catch. What was it? The 3rd and long to the tight end or the dude over the middle of the field. That wasn't a catch at the end of that wasn't it. I think that was the final drive. Again, kept the Lions in it with that shitty call. It was clearly not a catch, but they did call it on the field. That's what I mean. They initially called it a touchdown, so if it's not enough to reverse it, you know how that goes. It's the NFL. We've seen this play out before with the refs and some of these calls. John Easton, OKC, NFL number 1. That good we got shot. No one dominant. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You saw Broncos. Everyone was talking up the Broncos last week and Bo Nix. They just lost to the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. I don't think there's a dominant team in the AFC right now. Not at all. Despite what the records say. Steelers might be the hottest team in the AFC. And we know that means something. So even if the Denver Broncos have the better record, Patriots have a better record, whoever it is has a better record, there might be more meaning behind being the hotter team at the right time. When you're talking about late December, heading into January in the playoffs. I don't know. You could definitely have the debate. Steelers hottest team in the AFC. Bills rattled off 4 games in a row. So there's that. But they still don't even have their division. It's still the Patriots. So first round, they're going to be going on the road. Daniel says, if no playoff win, is it still fire Tomlin? I think you got to see how the playoff game looks. I think realistically, he's not getting fired, point blank, period. But for it to be a real conversation, and for at least to be warranted, I think it's how it looks. If we get the doors blown off us like last year, and the game's over by halftime, then it should be a conversation. Should be. But if we win the division and respond completely, we see how the season plays out here. You know, you look back and see the full storyline play out after we were 6-6. If we end up going to like 11-6 here, close off the season with all these wins, win the division, and we lose in the playoffs first round, but it's like a close game, and you could have a game, you could have a scenario where it plays out like this Lions one, but just doesn't go in our way. Some shitty ref calls and something fluky happens down the stretch, or the other team wins on a last-second field goal. Then it's like, we were there. It's just the nature of the NFL, though. It's single elimination, one and done. I think you give credit to Tomlin then. I think you give credit to say, like, oh, team responded, regular season, when everything was down and out, 6-6, everything looked lost, fire everyone, clean house, trade everyone, fire Tomlin. We rattle off wins, a bunch of wins in a row, team responds, win the division. That's something we haven't done in a while. And then even if we lose first round, if it's close, we look like a legit contending type of team that can play with anyone. I think Tomlin sticks around. Now, are there conversations about coordinator changes, how much control Tomlin has over roster, this and that? I think those are separate, but I would guess Tomlin still stays. And I think in that instance, I would be good with it. I think I would be. Because that would mean the decisions we made this offseason actually worked. Even if it's not the result we wanted, if we could say this team legitimately had a chance. One game, though, in the wild card, shit didn't go our way. We lose 24-23 on a last-second field goal or something fluky with the refs. It's like, that's just the nature of the NFL. But if it looks like how a lot of these playoff games have looked over the last, 8 years, in our 0-5 playoff record, where we're down by like 3 scores in some point in the first half in all of those games, and the game's over by halftime and we're doing a bunch of garbage time, I think it's a different story. I think it's a warranted conversation. And that's even if we win the division. Because obviously, I think that's how we get in the playoffs. You have to win the division. It's either win the division or you're out of the playoffs. Unless Houston collapses these last 2 weeks. Sergio Ramirez, 2630. Arthur Smith was cooking this game. I think he did have a really good game too. I agree with you on that. Possible head coach to replace Tomlin. Bring A-Rod back next year and draft receivers with O-line. We back. You know what? I'm not on the head coach to replace Tomlin. No. We ain't on those vibes tonight. No, we're not. We're good. Bring A-Rod back next year. Yeah, if he keeps playing like this, why not? I'm 100% for that. Draft receivers. Yes, we do need to draft a receiver. With O-line, do we need to draft O-line? I don't think we need to draft O-line. I like Dylan Cook's development. Broderick will be coming back. I don't know if you could bump Cook to inside, maybe. Cook the left guard, because Sam Allen's getting up there in age. I don't know if you retain him. But then we still have Frazier, McCormick, Fautanu on that right side. Maybe there's an extra O-lineman you bring it. You bring in a veteran O-lineman from free agency, kind of like what we've been doing these last few years with James Daniel, Isaac Seumalo, a Mason Cole, just to like plug and play. Arthur Smith did have a really good game, I feel like, mixing the calls up. I still get annoyed with some of the checkdowns early on, but I see what we're trying to do. Anyone notice Rodgers' face, too, with some of these checkdowns? And he's, like, disgusted. Like, who is he disgusted with? Is he disgusted with the receiver or the running back he's throwing to and getting tackled immediately? Because sometimes they show the replays, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, how do you not see the guy right there and know that it's a good probability he's going to be able to make that tackle? It's just, you're just checking it down. You're making the safe play. I don't know who you're blaming. Are you just pissed that the football gods, or just pissed that the defense ran something you weren't expecting? I don't know. It's just funny. He almost looks like an absolute disbelief that the play doesn't work out when he checks down to a dude for a couple yards and there's a defender right next to the guy he's checking it down to and they make the tackle. I think he's thinking like, oh, they should have broke the tackle or something. I don't know. There are some guys like Jalen Moore, more often than not, they do break some tackles. Kenneth Gainwell's been doing that too. He's been shifty. Mr. Snowman FD, how long do you think DK will be suspended? 1 game. That's what I hope, and that's my guess. Anthony Lauricio, let's talk about Jack Sawyer. Yeah, had a really good game. I don't know what much else there is to say about him. Had a really good game. Pumped that he's on the team. Does it mean I still don't want Watt and Herbig back for the home stretch here? No, I still want TJ out there. I still want Herbig. What it might say, though, is we overpaid TJ, right? Like, we're getting pretty good production from a Jack Sawyer. Granted, the attention's not completely on him in that, but, I mean, dude play good. He makes plays when he's out there. So, yeah, I'm not going to say he's better than TJ. I'm not going to say TJ who, or we don't need Herbig back. But, hey, these last couple of games without TJ, I'll tell you what, we're winning games. Remember, there was the stat that Steelers are some drastic losing record whenever TJ's not out there. But these last 2 games, that's not the case. Defense is playing fine. Defense is actually played at its best this year without TJ. You can make the argument. Like, these last 2 games, I would say this is the best the defense has played in consecutive weeks. We had moment. We had a good game against the Bengals at home. We had a pretty good game against the Browns at home. But outside of that, in terms of multiple weeks, where you're feeling good about how the defense is playing, down in, down out. Like, we actually have a good game plan. good schemes. We're playing sound defense. We're not reliant on 6 turnovers to get us out of stadium. This was a game where no turnovers, sound defense did it. But then it's like if we actually can get 1 or 2 or 3 of those turnovers with the sound defense, that's when everything's humming. That's when everything's firing all cylinders, and you got a top 5 defense on your hands. Unfortunately, we didn't get that today. We had the opportunities, just didn't take advantage. John Easton, like us versus anyone but Buffalo, but we will play them first. Maybe. Right now, it's actually the Chargers. If you look at the standings, Chargers are the 4 seed, or the 5 seed, and we would be the 4 seed. Okay, that's it for the pay chats. Let's get to some of the cheap chats here. Let's get some of the cheap chats in the house. The guys that are just here, not paying the money. No, I do really. You guys know me. I do really appreciate you guys in the house, spending your time, investing your time, being here. What you guys saying? We'll crack up in the Miller. I'm not gonna do the Jumanji. I'll be cognizant of that. I don't know if I got fam lurking in the chat. Gonna call me on that again. Any takes that I missed? Give me some takes that I missed. Yeah, not a shot. With all due respect, the cheap chat. With all due respect. This is funny. Bring TJ in on 3rd downs. TJ is a situational player now. What was that Belichick line to Julian Edelman? Or no, it was to Wes Welker when Julian Edelman ran a punt back or something, or did some special teams work in the preseason. And Bill Belichick said, you ever hear the story about Lou Gehrig and Wally Pipp? Yeah, Wally Pipp gets hurt. Lou Gehrig's out there, and he is like basically baseball's Iron Man for the next like decade and a half. Doesn't miss a game. Some sort of crazy consecutive starting streak. And obviously one of the best baseball players out there, makes the Hall of Fame. And he said that story in reference to Edelman being next up in case Welker goes down or he has some drop in production. TJ left an opportunity for Jack Sawyer here. We see what it's looking like without TJ. This used to not always be the case. We had losing records with TJ sitting out. Now we're winning without TJ. Still want TJ. Still want TJ for the home stretch. Let's not get too carried away. We want TJ back. And there's some weird reports on him. Again, that's all we've been getting on this TJ lung situation, is just like a ton of conflicting reports all over the place. But now I'm hearing from, I think it was Schefter, saying that TJ's not even focused on football right now. He just wants to get healthy, which is understandable. When you get your lung punctured and you have to have surgery on your lung. Sure, it's a little bit bigger than football. Just want to be healthy again. Still want to be able to just use your lung at full capacity at least. But then I saw something from Dulac, and maybe you take the Dulac report with a grain of salt, because he has been, I was going to say hit and miss, but it's actually just been a lot of misses for Dulac with some of his reporting over the last year, 2 years. He said that TJ is going to be practicing this week. So if you believe Dulac's report, that means TJ is actually thinking about football. He wants to be back as soon as possible. Schefter, it sounds like TJ is just going to take his time with it and focus on himself as a person as opposed to being out there with football. Highsmith had a game. Yes, sir. Tomlin for president. I do think Tomlin would make a really good politician. I do. I think if he wanted to get into it, I think he'd be really successful. If he wanted to retire from football, become a politician, I think he would kill it. Sergio Ramirez, 2630. More Deke Doe Denera for you. Merry Christmas, G. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that comment. Yeah, you could either pay for some comments or you could buy some hats. Non-losing season champions hat. If you want to support the cause here. Jags are the hottest team. Ooh, yeah, because I was just referring to the Steelers being... maybe you can make a case. They are playing good. Trevor Lawrence is playing pretty good. What else we got? Yeah, at this point, I think it's pretty much clear. Thielen is better than Roman or Calvin. At least for 2025. At least for this season. Absolutely. And with us being all in, where we're at right now in the season, you're not really worried about 2026 and development and all that type of shit. Who makes Rodgers most comfortable out there? Who helps out Rodgers? Who helps out the offense? Clearly Thielen. And it wasn't just Thielen's presence in this game that helped open up the offense, distracted the defense a little bit. It was Thielen making plays. Middle of the field. What do you have, like 50, 60 yards? Clutch catches, too. A lot of them on third downs. Yeah, 4 receptions, 49 yards for Thielen. I'm with this, too. Let's go get Lazard. DK, probably going to be out of game. Doesn't hurt us to sign Lazard. Oh, wait, I clicked the wrong comment. Let's go get Lazard. Yeah. It doesn't hurt. We're seeing success with MVS. We're seeing success with Thielen. 2 guys that Rodgers wants out there. He has familiarity with, even though it's not completely familiar with Thielen from an on-the-field standpoint. I know they're friends. And Thielen's one of those savvy veterans that I think Rodgers can rely on just in terms of route running and finding the spots in the zone. Whereas with a Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson, don't have as much production on their resumes. Don't have as much success on their resumes like an Adam Thielen. This would be interesting. This is something I wouldn't completely throw out. If we're talking about potentially getting like a Mac Jones in here and having him compete with Will Howard as a legitimate option, if Rodgers don't want to come back. If Rodgers don't want to come back and we can't trade for Joe Burrow, then yeah, I think we got to get creative with this quarterback room in 2026. I think there's going to be a lot of options and a lot of different combinations you could throw on the table. This actually wouldn't be the worst thing. Malik Willis, Will Howard competition wouldn't be completely opposed. Sign Malik Willis for a year, $7, $8 million, $10 million potentially. Hold on. Where's your comment? I'm sorry. If I missed it, let me see. Chubb Stewart. I might be lacking in my production skills tonight. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Sorry, bro. Chubb Stewart. The Bills lost. Woke the dragon on our team. Yeah, that and the non-losing season champs hats. Let's see what else we got. Start Will Howard. When? No, that's not happening. If we clinch the playoffs before week 18, I'd be fine with it. If Rodgers wants to sit out and feel like rest, health's more important than keeping the momentum up with the offense, I'm not even saying that as a shot, because that's the risk you run being out there in a meaningless game. You could get hurt. It could be something detrimental to you or the team that happens out there. And is it worth it? I mean, this is the conversation we have around preseason. It's like, what do you want? Do you want rhythm? Do you want a couple series out there just to feel like you're warmed up for the regular season? Is that valuable to you versus potentially tweaking something, getting hurt out on the field in a preseason game, meaningless game? I think that's the conversation you have about week 18 if we have everything clinched up. Maybe there's more layers to it with a week 18 game versus preseason, but I think it's still the overarching point. I disagree with this. Priority 317. Why isn't anyone wanting Will Howard to get a shot? I think a lot of people want Will Howard to get a shot, actually. I would say majority of Steeler Nation. I would say it's 60-70% of Steeler Nation that would be like, if Rodgers retired, yeah, give Will Howard a shot. Give him an open competition at least. Give him a shot. I'd like to see him out there. Because I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm one of those people in that boat. When you look at the QB draft class coming up, when you look at the free agent quarterbacks or guys that would be legitimately available, If Rodgers doesn't come back and we can't trade for Joe Burrow, why not Will Howard? Why not? Seriously. Like, how is Will Howard that much worse of an option than anything else? Now, you don't give him the keys, but make it an open competition, give him a chance. And if you want to lean on, which would be likely if we brought in a Mac Jones, we brought in a veteran quarterback, Steelers, I would guess, would probably give them the upper hand in the competition and ultimately go with them for week 1. But I don't think you should be hesitant to pull the plug if shit ain't working out. Put Will Howard in sooner rather than later in the regular season. If the offense ain't up to snuff. Sorry. I would be fine with bringing Mason back as just keep him as the steady back. I would be fine with Mason being our Charlie Batch for the rest of his career. I think I would be fine with that. The chance for him being a franchise guy, though, out the window. Done. Had his opportunity here in that Bears game. Not good. Alex Mathis, 1540. Those third down conversions are the between Rodgers and Russ. The difference between Rodgers and Russ. I think that's what you're going for. Steelers at plus 300, baby. Let's go. Plus 300 for what? Make the playoff? I don't know what the plus 300 is. That can't be for the Super Bowl. Plus 300, I would guess make the playoffs. Win the division. It can't be win the division. We have to be heavy favorites to win the division. Win a playoff? I don't know. Plus 300. Not sure what those odds are for. Let me know. Clarify in the chat. Kenny Pickett return? No. We're done. I'm out. I already told you. Watch the video from a week or two ago. We're done. Nope. I admitted I was wrong. Oh, we were underdogs plus 300 against the Lions. I guess that makes sense. I didn't know the money line. I know we were like 6 or 7 point dogs. That would make sense. Okay, thank you. Alex Mathis says difference. Yeah, in the win game. Sorry, phone was geeking. Yeah, no problem. Jaylen Warren. Yes, don't forget about Jaylen Warren. Oh, hold on. No, the yellow hats are not out. If you want the yellow hats, get them. I actually have a new yellow hat coming in. I had to order another one for myself. I gave the yellow hat that I had as my present for a white elephant, like Christmas party exchange. I gifted that and a Smirnoff Ice. If you wanted the hat, you had to take the ice. You had to get iced. So, yeah, I don't have the yellow hat anymore. I'm actually, like, after the party, I was like, that was a cool gift. Like, I'm pumped about giving it. But now I don't have the gold hat. And I think the gold hat's the fan favorite. That one's doing better numbers than the white one. So it kind of sucks that I don't have it. But anyway, we got the white one. It still works. I still think it's clean. I think there is something to that gold hat, though. That gold hat pops. Deke-merch.store if you want the hats. I'll put I think the link might be in the description right now. I'll put the link in the comments, though, too, if anyone's interested. Yeah, Johnny's actually getting incorporated. That's the one thing I overlooked in some of my takes over the last few weeks whenever we were talking about change and Steelers were at their low point and how, if we're not going to fire Tom, we're not going to fire the coaching staff or make any really wholesale changes. Something's got to give. We got to change something. And I said, get the 3 tight end sets like off the field. Get Jonnu Smith the ball less. I'm getting sick of it. We're too predictable. We're way too conservative with him out there. We're not explosive enough. But we figured out a way because we're not completely writing off these 3 tight end sets. There's a couple times I saw Darnell, Freiermuth, and Jonnu all out there, but they're not all up at the line of scrimmage. They're not all up together, bunched in with the O linemen. They're actually spread out a little bit and like bunched. You got 2 guys spread out as receivers, Freiermuth on the other side. Whereas whenever we did have the 3, it was like we're lined up in like a goal line set at our own 30-yard line. What the hell do you think we're doing? We're either doing a slow-ass play action here. So it's going to be a slow-developing play action, or we're going to run it. Not that complicated for a defense to figure out. Oh, man, I don't know if this is ever happening. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Deke, bring back the Madden series. I don't think it's ever happening again. I think I just got to admit it. I don't know. It was a good run. You might not be wrong on that. Jonnu missed some blocks, but he's actually an asset in the receiving game to the point where I think I overlooked him a little bit and his potential still in this offense late in the season, because he's actually done pretty good. Hey, utilize him as the running back and that type of shit. Is it still borderline overkill with Jonnu? Does Arthur Smith maybe like him a little bit too much? Maybe, but when it works, it works. Sign Rodgers for 5 more years. One more is good. I think one more is fine. Well, hold on. I was going to read a Will Howard comment, but I clicked on this one instead. Muth is better. Muth played good today. He got involved. I like that. Muth is better than John. I think I would agree with you on that. Just as a pure receiver. But I think Jonnu does offer more versatility with stuff he could be doing out the backfield and stuff. Some of the motions, like you could do screens with him. Now, are they that successful? I wouldn't say, yeah, it's at this crazy high clip where you feel like you're missing out by not getting Jonnu Smith a screen. But some of them work. Some of his, versatility type of plays and motions, they work. They work at times. But in terms of just getting the ball, middle of the field, Muth running like a slant route, running an out route, I would definitely take Muth over Jonnu in that category. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think that is it. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Let me read some. I wrote down some notes. I write down some notes throughout these games. See if there's anything I'm missing. No. Oh, how about this one? Skoranek for the Pro Bowl. I think he's a lock as a special teamer. After today, had another nice play. Another nice tackle. Perfect timing. Drilled the dude as soon as he was catching that punt. He's been making special teams plays all year. Had a good one last week, too. He was first in Pro Bowl voting for, special teamers coming into this week, so I don't think that changes. And he's deserving. So, good for him. That'd be cool. I think that was the only thing I missed that I wanted to mention then. So that's it. Stay chilling, everyone. Be back tomorrow. Sure we'll have plenty to talk about with these post-game press conferences, reacting to what Rodgers and Tomlin say, what DK has to say, and maybe what the NFL says about DK going forward and how long he might be suspended or fined, etc. What information comes out from the whole situation. What's DK side of it? What's the fans say? Who knows? That'll be interesting. But I'm out of here. Yes, thank you. Someone confirmed it in the chat. Because I'm pretty sure I'm right. I saw the graphic a few weeks ago that we were tied for first in the non-losing season consecutive streak. And this year with how it just finished up, 9 wins, 2025, this would put us over the top. Record. You can't take that away from us. Can't take it away. Even if we win a Super Bowl, even if we go on a run, and we don't get bounced in the first round, we don't flail out rest of the season, we are the record non-losing season franchise in NFL history. So that makes us the non-losing season champions. No matter what way you want to spin it, these hats are evergreen. These hats are in it for the long haul. You can wear them whenever. They're stylish, fashionable. Wear them with anything. Just dope hats. I'm telling you, once you get the hat, the style on it, it's dope. Everyone that's got them, it's like, oh, you look better in those hats. You look better by wearing that hat. You go from a 6 to an 8. if you rock the non-losing season champions hat. You become that much more attractive. We'll finish on that. Stay chilling. Here we go, Steelers. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.